This starts out as an interesting film, beautifully shot with great summer scenes shot on Long Island, New York. The pace is a little painfully slow for the first hour or so. This can be done intentionally to increase tension. Something that upsets and confuses me a bit about this movie is the fact that something totally out of the ordinary happens and yet the cast barely moves. Our main character, George, is the owner of a beautiful house where his family spends their holidays and doesn't really care what happens. Even after checking his neighbor's house, he remained unperturbed. The house also suffered some damage and was flooded. A passenger plane crashed on the beach and the waves shook the house, causing it to flood. George goes to the beach, where he sees a crashed plane and bodies strewn across the sand. As he returns to his neighbor's house, another jet falls from the sky into the exact same area, sending another huge wave into the house. The scene ends with George standing calmly in the doorway. Next we found him at home. He was barely shaking, but he was clearly soaking wet. Apparently, I say apparently wet because as a viewer you can't really see him wet, but other cast members mention it. Sorry, but if I witnessed something like that, I would drool, pee, and say things I don't understand. Yet George remains mostly silent. This is what confuses me even more about this story. All the actors seem to have strange feelings towards each other. There is distance between us and everyone. It is difficult to determine if this behavior is intentional or has something to do with acting. Desperate situations usually bring people together, but the characters in this film are mostly turned against each other. This is actually typical behavior in such a situation. But in this movie there seem to be no rules and everything happens spontaneously over time. And then there's another neighbor, George's contractor. It seems like the story is now decided. Everything points to an apocalyptic event, but there is no actual evidence. I can't communicate. It's not even a satellite. Animals in the forest gather in groups and act strangely. I'll just say this without spoiling it, that the ending leaves us just as confused as the rest of the movie. It's all speculation. I've finally started to see signs of an attack, but I'm still not convinced. The film meanders, dropping hints of horrifying events that occur without any explanation. Somehow I shook my head. How could a country as big and strong as ours be attacked like that? I'm just annoyed. Are there any signs of defense? Why are there no military aircraft? There are no convoys of military trucks or equipment. Nothing makes sense. It's really frustrating. The movie has some interesting qualities at first, but then takes a major turn that leaves it in the twilight zone. During the course of the movie, we are also subjected to a lot of trash talk. A long and painful discussion about nothing. Meandering or filler. I can't say, but there's too much to say. It could have been a great movie, but instead I was left wondering what I had just seen. It will just be completely forgotten tomorrow.